Hi friends, I'm Jeffy G. If you've been thinking about the Arturia collection but sitting on the sidelines, now's a good time to get involved because Arturia has released Analog Lab Play, which is free. It's 100 presets using the same 33 vintage instruments and keyboards that have made Arturia popular. You really have to put some perspective around Arturia's flagship product, the V Collection 9. It includes vintage synthesizers and keyboards that just aren't available from anybody else. It's good value for money. Arturia delivers these products in a couple of different ways.
The first level in the collection is the Analog Lab Play, which is free. And with that, you get 100 presets, the Analog Lab interface, the same interface you'd use for the other levels, and you get some effects and the ability to combine sounds. But you do not have the ability to drive down into the individual 33 keyboards and synthesizers and edit at that level. The next level is Analog Labs Pro, which is similar using the same 33 instruments, but you get 9,000 presets. And these are all really leading up to their flagship product, which is called Collection V. Hoping you'll upgrade to that level. With that, you get Analog Lab Pro, but full access to edit or program all of the 33 keyboards and synths. You can create your own presets, you can do almost anything, and it does include 14 exclusive sound banks. So there is a hierarchy here.
So Analog Lab Play is a free download you can get off the Arturia website. And the thing to keep in mind is that everything from Arturia is made up of 33 instruments plus augmented instruments they call augmented voices, augmented strings, and their synth called pigments. So here's kind of a list of all the things that are part of Analog Play. These are used to make the presets. Once you've downloaded it, you're going to open up Analog Lab. You'll see in my case it says Analog Lab Pro, and I have 9,442 presets. That's because I have the full Analog Lab version. The difference between this and Play is that Play is just a subset. I was fortunate enough to get the patches or presets that are included in Play from Arturia, and this is the list. These are the presets. And each preset can be made up of one synth or multiple synths. It says here, if you change this browsing to browse by instrument in this last column, you can browse by name, by type, and by instrument. So if you wanted to say, okay, what's this sound like? Certainly it sounds like a tone wheel organ. It's a B3 sound. And this is the standard browser you would use, whether you have the Play series or Analog Lab, the full version. This little heart shape will let you save presets. Down here at the bottom, I've got a couple toggles to toggle the controls or the key display. I like to have them both on. Now these dials can be mapped to any MIDI controller keyboard. How you do that is you click on settings up here at the top, and under MIDI, you'll see these are how I've mapped the controls to my Novation Launch Key 61. You can modify those presets a little bit. You can't actually dive into the synth that's controlling these things. So for example, that dark keys setting is from a Korg MS-20. You see a little picture of it up here. But you can't dive into the Korg MS-20 synth emulator and just create your own presets or modify it at the synth level. So even though you click on edit preset, you'll get a list of things that you can do. So you can add effects. There's effects A and B, and you can choose from a long list of effects for A and B. The third and fourth effects slot are reserved for delay. You've got a few different delays you can use, and reverb, quite a few different reverb settings that you can play with. The other thing you can do is you can combine two parts. So if I click on part 2, choose Alien Invasion. I've got two parts, first part and a second part. The first part we heard. Turn off the first part, turn on the second. can control the mix of the two parts to kind of create your own sound. And you can split the keyboard. So if I click on the keyboard settings, see I can control the key range for part 1 and part 2. Let's say I want part 1 just to be maybe in the lower half. You can control a fair bit here in terms of how things are layered. Some parameters can be controlled, like I say, not down to the individual synth level. For that, you need the full V Collection 9. So in the browser, when you're looking for sounds, there's a couple different ways you can go about it. I like this Explore browser, but some people like the way it's delivered up top here. You've got browse sounds by type, by instrument. So if I want to say, okay, I'm interested in clav sounds or sounds from an ARP, or I can browse by sound bank. And then down here at the bottom, I can browse by designer. I can show all the instruments that are included in Play, but only a few presets for each one. This last column of the Explore browser lets you pick the third column to be either designer, so you could search by designer, by bank. You can see everything I have here is factory play because I'm limiting what we can hear and test to just what comes in Play, or by instrument. And the instrument view I find to be the most useful. So for example, if I'm looking for a DX7 sound, I could click on this one. Emulator 2. Some drums. That sound is made up of two parts, an emulator 2 and the Pigments synth. And if I click on edit the preset, you can see the two parts up here and which effects are being applied. Here's a patch that's made up of 2 Juno 6s. Kind of sounds like one, but by having 2, it's a little bit fatter sounding. Here's a patch made up of 2 synths, a Jupiter 8, Emulator 2. Classic brass synth. Here's an interesting one that's made up of a Jupiter 8 and a Rhodes. That arpeggiated part is coming from the Jupiter 8, and the basic keys are coming from a Rhodes. Can't play Strawberry Fields without a mellotron. Here's some mini Moog. Here's some sounds based on an Oberheim. Traditional Prophet 5 sound, synth choir. Vox Continental. Here's a Wurlitzer.
There's quite a few situations where a musician or a producer needs access to all of those synths and keyboards. I mean, if you're playing in a cover band, this is like a gold mine because every sound that's ever been used, whether it's from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s, probably came out of one of these vintage synths. I've always found these products to be high quality, the sounds to be very authentic, and well worth the investment. One other consideration is pick up Play now, and as we approach Black Friday, you may see an incredible deal on the V Collection 9. If you found this video useful, click on the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and leave a comment. I'm always interested in your feedback. Thanks for watching.